Hey, welcome to the Mikey and D experience. Again, I don't know where Dalton is. I'm just kidding. He's in school right now. He's in school for aircraft maintenance, so he's gonna join us when he can. I totally understand, but you got Mikey here, and you have
Fisherman Chad here, as always.
just the two of us. We're gonna talk some shit tonight. Going to probably fight about a few things. Going to argue. Gonna debate. Gonna whatever. So the first thing that I want to talk about tonight is the NBA play-in game that the Pacers will be in tomorrow night against the Hornets. Chad, what do you think about the Pacers' chances to beat the Hornets and go into the playoffs as the 8th seed, which we probably lose the first round, which we do every fucking year?
Looking at it right now and going back to the regular season, which unfortunately in the NBA, the regular season very rarely means shit. They struggled with the Hornets. They struggled a lot with the Hornets this year.
Yeah.
They made a lot of players a lot of money on that Hornets team this year.
Yeah. I think LaMelo Ball owes the Pacers a debt of gratitude, as does Devontae Graham. I remember last year we played the Hornets. Devontae Graham, I don't know how many times we played them last year. Devontae Graham just went off, and he was a nobody until the Pacers came to town, and I think he put up 25, 30 points against them, and it was I feel like this game is going to be a real bloodbath. I think both teams are going to put in so much effort. We still don't know if Malcolm Brogdon is going to be playing, but their front court is fairly weak. They've got Cody Zeller, who looks like he's 45, and he's, 28, 29.
And he plays like he's 45.
That receding hairline, man, I feel so bad for him. He needs to get the bald cut like you do, man. He just needs to.
He looks like me.
He needs to let it go and just say, hey, you know what? I'm bald, and I'm just going to go with it. I mean, what else can you do? So, I see Domas probably getting. Domas is averaging 20 points and 10 or 11 rebounds a game and 7 assists. He's basically almost averaging a triple-double every game. I feel like he's going to just dominate that front court tomorrow night. Chad, what do you think? Do you think the Hornets have a chance at actually stopping Domas, stopping whoever's in the front court? Jakar. I feel like even Jakar Sampson. I feel like Goga even would have a decent game against them.
Sure. I think the front court is going to be the biggest concern if you're a Hornets fan. But we can't stop their backcourt. We can't stop anybody's backcourt.
No,
that's a huge problem right now. We cannot play defense in the backcourt. And Miles Turner was our only line of defense when these guys get into the basket.
And he's gone now. He's gone for the season. So it's, man, looking forward, even if we win this play-in game, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but Miles was that dude in the middle that says, all right, you're going to put up a layup, fuck your layup, I'm blocking that shit. And we don't have. Domas is not. I'd say he's a decent defender. He's not great. He's no Miles when it comes to blocks and things like that. He can grab rebounds and things, but if the shot's going to go in, Domas is not blocking it. He's not built that way. He's a scorer, and that's really all there is to it. He's not a block guy like Miles is, and it really hurts the Pacers to not have that guy, that force in the middle that you don't want to take it straight to the hole, because Domas isn't going to defend it. He's going to stand there. He's going to stand there with his arms up, and act like he's defending you, but he's not going to do anything about it. He's a scorer. That's what he's about.
It's a difference in athleticism, largely in part. Miles for a 7-footer is a freak athlete. Domas don't have that athleticism. He never has. He never will. Miles isn't never going to be the scorer. He's never going to be the rebounder. But Domas is. Domas just has a skill and a skill set, just like his dad did. His dad was an incredible scorer as a big man. Zero athleticism, but a big body and knew how to score the basketball.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really worried about LaMelo Ball. He came out of nowhere, honestly, this year. He's one. I'd say he's probably the best player on their team, and he's he had the injury last year, so he was sidelined for a while. But I mean, he's averaging 16 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists a game. I mean, that's a game changer. And I don't think he's going to be if Brogdon doesn't play. I don't think he's going to be scared of whoever the Pacers put in front. I mean, who do we have besides Aaron Holiday? Aaron Holiday is like a wet towel you can just go through. I don't see him worrying about Holiday. I mean, if we put
Edmund Sumner, not a good defender.
Well, that's exactly the same as Domas. Edmund Sumner can score. He'll put up 25 one night, and you'll just be like, where did that come from? But he does not. He's not a defender. He's not a defender at all. We remember we used to be based on defense. Remember those days?
Yeah, the early Nate McMillan days.
That's how we won.
Going back to the Larry Brown.
Not even. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, from Brown to McMillan, our whole team was based around defense. We wouldn't score a lot. We put up 85 a night. But now we're putting up 120 a night, but we're still losing.
Because we're giving up 125 a night.
Exactly. So, and the thing with the Pacers is I feel like they kind of have the Colts mentality. Like they will against shit teams, they won't play. Against a good team, they will put up the biggest fight that they can. And
just like they did, was it last week against the 76ers?
Yeah.
They fought back. They were 12 down in the fourth quarter. Come back and ended up winning that game.
Yeah, it's like, same thing against the Bucks, same thing against the Lakers. The Lakers, they lost it, but I mean, we've been decent. I mean, the Sixers, we beat the Sixers. I mean, or I think the 2 or 3 seed. Actually, it might be the 1 seed. I don't remember, but They just have that same mentality as the Colts do. Bad teams, like remember last year the Colts, they lost the first game to the Jags, who had the worst record at the end of the year, which is why they got Trevor Lawrence. We lost to them, and then we go on and beat solid teams all year, and it's I don't know what it is about Indianapolis, but we can't. For some reason, we don't beat the good team. We don't beat the bad teams. We beat the good teams. We put up a fight. I won't say we always beat the good teams. We put up a good fight against the good teams, and against the bad teams, we kind of just cower. And
it's almost you're playing to your competition.
Yeah,
they're not able to put up a good game against a lesser competition.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You have to be able to do that. You have to play the game. You have to pretend you're playing the Sixers, you're playing the Bucks, you're playing the Lakers, and you got to play these lesser teams like the Rockets, like the Oklahoma City Thunder. You've got to play those teams the same way you do these upper echelon teams.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We lost to. God, I'm going to lose so much respect for forgetting who we lost. We lost by like 30 to somebody a few weeks ago, and I can't remember who it was. I should have looked it up beforehand. But they were a dog shit team. And then we go back the next night and beat an upper echelon team. And that's just how they've been all year. And I understand that we've had so many injuries. I mean, Domas was out for a while. Miles is out for the year. McDermott's out occasionally. I love McDermott. McDermott used to be that guy that you just give him the ball off the screen and he nails the three for you. He's been going inside lately, and he's been getting dirty, and I love that about him. But I mean, I'm really worried about tomorrow night. I don't know. I put a bet on FanDuel. I put the over at 229.5 because I feel like it's gonna be a high scoring game. I couldn't pick a winner though because I really don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, it's really just up in the for me. It's up in the air at this point. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Hornets win. I wouldn't be surprised if the Pacers win. I have no clue. So I didn't bet on the winner. I didn't bet a money line because I'm gonna lose a lot of money. But I could see either one of them winning it, and it would not be a surprise to me.
Let's talk about that. You brought up gambling. You brought up the Pacers and putting a little wager on them. Who do you have if you're gonna put your hard-earned money on it right now? Who are you taking to win the NBA championship this year?
I mean, there's two teams that I think would probably be in the front running that kind of stand out, but I mean they're not. I mean, I don't think they're necessarily going to. I don't know if they're going to win or not, but the Sixers have. They've got Embiid. They've got Simmons. We all know who they have. Their record speaks for itself, and I understand that. But also, I mean, you got to think about the Jazz. I mean, they've been on a streak this year that really, I mean, I think they're 52-20 right now. That's pretty solid.
Incredible.
But I've got my money, and it might lose me a few bucks, but it might make me a few bucks richer, is the Suns. I put a bet on the Suns a few weeks ago. Actually, we both did. We both threw a few bucks into it for the Suns to win the championship, and I don't think that's out of the question. I mean, right now the Jazz are 52-20, Suns are 51-21. Devin Booker is just ridiculous. I mean, you can't.
The most underappreciated superstar in the league right now is Devin Booker.
And now he's dating a Kardashian, right?
Well, his career's over.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what happens. Tristan Thompson did that, and then who was the I can't think of what was his name? The guy from I literally just had a brain fart. Who was the guy that dated well, obviously we all know Lamar, who was with
Khloe Kardashian.
Who was with Khloe. We all know that. But then who was the guy that was with man.
Blake Griffin.
Was it Blake?
Dated Kim Kardashian.
No, was it Blake?
Yes.
I thought it was like
and as soon as they stopped dating, you had Chris Humphries in there.
No, that's what I was thinking of. Was Chris Humphries. He was, oh my God. So I'll admit, I kind of watched a little bit of the Kardashians back in the day. Chris Humphries was such a fucking douche on that show. I mean, I've never been a fan of his, but he was such an asshole. Chris, if you ever listen to this,
you're a turd.
I'm not even going to apologize. Fuck you, Chris. Fuck you, Chris Humphries, because he was such a fucking prick on that show. I'm not even worried about it. I don't care. I don't care if he says anything about it. So, anyways, what do you think? I mean, I've got so right now. I mean, it's not even really a question. I mean, the Lakers, who the hell knows with LeBron, how he shows up in the playoffs? Because I've gotten my heart just killed so many times from LeBron being whatever the fuck team he's on, whether it was the Cavs, whether it was the Heat. I mean, he just shows up in the playoffs, and he's we all know he's a competitor, but he just has that killer instinct. Even if during the season he's kind of laid off, he's kind of done his thing, playoffs, dude shows up.
You can't argue that. I mean, LeBron, love him or hate him, I'm on the latter side of that. But he does. He shows up for his team in the playoffs. You can't count out the Lakers. They've got arguably the best big man in the game in Anthony Davis. They've got a budding superstar in Dennis Schroeder, who's an incredible point guard. But I think that the champion in the NBA will come out of the West. But I truly think that you're looking at the Suns. That's who my money's on right now.
Yeah,
incredibly deep team. They have the superstar power, but they have the depth to go a 6 or 7 game series. I see them playing the Nets coming out of the East. How can you bet against James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving? It don't really matter who else they have on the team.
The thing is,
those three guys alone, they're going to outscore the other team if they're having a good night.
I will say the thing is, the Nets have had so many injuries this year. I mean, how Durant was out. I mean, and Kyrie just came out today and said basketball is not the most important thing in my life right now. When it's playoff time, I mean, I know he's a flat earther. He's kind of out there, but I mean, when it comes to playoff time, how is basketball not the most important thing in your life right now? Because you've got a chance to win the championship, and Brooklyn has never been a contender, even close to it.
But maybe that's what he's saying.
Maybe
he's saying it's not important, like everybody's been saying. It's not important during the regular season. I mean, he's saying maybe now you ask him this week. Kyrie says basketball is the most important thing going right now.
He said it literally today or yesterday that basketball is not the most important thing in his life. I'm sure he's trying to figure out, why the Earth is flat. He's trying to prove his conspiracy. He's trying to prove everyone wrong that the Earth is flat. I don't really know.
Maybe he's filming another Uncle Drew commercial.
Oh God, no, that's Chris. That's Chris Paul.
No, Kyrie Irving is Uncle Drew.
No, it's Chris Paul. Chris Paul does the State Farm commercials.
Guess what, boys and girls? We're not talking about State Farm. We're talking about Pepsi and Uncle Drew.
Oh, God. Anyways, I think Chad's got his player. Chris Paul and Kyrie Irving kind of look alike, though. But, I just don't see. I mean, that you brought up a good point, though. I totally just blanked the Nets because I think they've been taking it easy all year. But but they've been resting their players because I think they're waiting for the playoffs, which is kind of a shitty thing to do, honestly. Because I went to the Pacers Nets game a few weeks ago. I think Kyrie wasn't playing and Harden wasn't playing, and that's kind of bullshit. When you pay the money to go to a game and you want to see these star players, and the only one that's out there is Durant, which I mean. Total respect for him. I mean, I love Kevin Durant, but when it's only one guy out there of the 3 that are supposed to be making this team, it's kind of a letdown. You're like, what the? Why am I only paying to watch Kevin Durant? I love the guy, but I mean, I want to see Harden. I want to see Irving. I want to see the whole team. Is that 10, 15 years ago, resting during the season was not a thing.
You're right. Look back at Kobe Bryant. To me, is a great example of what it means to be a superstar. He made a quote to his wife Vanessa, and she released it during his enshrinement, and it said, quote, "Kobe, why do you play every game through injury?" And he said, "Because what if there's people in the stands right now that saved up their money and only can see me once in a lifetime?" He said, "I have to perform for those people."
And Lakers tickets have never been cheap.
To me, that's incredible. I mean, there's nothing but respect for Kobe Bryant. God rest you and Gigi's soul, bub.
Yeah.
Because that's how you play the game. You make all this money. You have to play the game.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the players just don't give a shit anymore. They're out there for the money. They know they're a big star. I'm talking to you, Harden. I'm talking to you, Kyrie Irving. I mean, you guys, I mean, and it's not just them. There's fucking 20, 30 players out there that play for the paycheck. Well, remember Embiid? Remember the Sixers had the whole trust the process.
Joel Embiid is another one that truly I think the dude fakes an injury every once in a while so he can take a few games off.
He probably does, but I mean, he's
not the only one for sure.
But the thing is, he's a beast when he's on the floor. He's going to put up 25 and 12 every night he's out there. But why don't you try to do that every night? Because the thing that happens is when you do this, all you're doing is, I mean, you're pissing off the fans, but also you're hurting your career stats. If you want to be one of those all-time greats, when you look up on, NBA.com and you see who's got the most assists, who's got the most rebounds, who's got the most whatever, and you guys are taking off every 3 games, that adds up to a shit ton of rebounds, assists, points per year that you're missing out on, that you won't be considered maybe for the Hall of Fame or whatever. That's a huge hurt on you.
Sure. A lot of these guys, though, if there's a millennial out there listening, I'll apologize now because I'm going to hurt your feelings. Millennials are soft. They absolutely only care about one thing: winning, winning, and winning.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I kind of agree with that, but they also kind of just want the money. I mean,
it's all about. It's about money and rings.
To be honest with you, I mean, I feel like it's, they create. There was never a super team, really, before LeBron came around, right? I mean, can you think?
You can throw the Celtics in there
but
with Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett.
I don't think that was quite a super team though, because Paul Pierce wasn't quite a superstar at the time. Before, you wouldn't say, hey, I want to create a super team, so I'm going to put Paul Pierce on my team. Obviously Garnett, but I wouldn't put Paul Pierce and Ray. I mean, Ray Allen's a sharpshooter from 3-point range. I get that, but I don't know if I'd say, hey, if I'm going to create a super team, I'm going to put Ray Allen and Paul Pierce on my team.
Super team, big three. That's kind of a different. I'll give you the terminology could be a little bit different. You have the big three with the Celtics,
right?
But super team wise,
I feel like
the super team was started to be created by LeBron James.
Guess
what? It's going to bite him in the ass this year because they're not going to get to the championship.
I feel like it was 2010. I think it was 2010, right? 2010 or 2011, when LeBron said, "I'm taking my talents to Miami," and he hooked up with Bosch, who we talked about on the last podcast, and Dwayne Wade. And as a Pacers fan, I lived through that trauma. It was, we played them. I will give my boys credit. We played them hard. We always played them hard. We always played LeBron hard. He always found that fucking way to just put that dagger in us.
Talent over prevails. It'll always over prevail whatever's going on.
And what sucks is when I say we, I'm talking about the Pacers. We're a mid-market team. We're never gonna have the LeBron type. We're never gonna have the Anthony Davis type, which sucks because it should be about the team and how, kind of the coach-player dynamic, but at this point it's about location and about who you can get on the team. Because if you say, "Hey, we're going to Indiana to win a championship," most guys are going to be like, "Fuck you! I don't want to be in Indiana. We get no national coverage. We get none of that." If you say, "Hey, we're going to LA, we're going to Miami, we're going to New York, whatever," a guy that's going to be, with you is going to be like, "Fuck yeah, I'll go to New York, go to LA. We'll get that, we'll get the camera time." Honestly, I mean, that's what it's all about. We'll be on ESPN every night. We'll be on NBA on TNT. We'll be on everything. We'll get all that time, and it's just it's unfair, really. To me, calling it unfair may be wrong because we are a mid-market team. So I'm not going to say that, hey, why don't you guys come to Indy? Because I mean, obviously that's being selfish of me, but at the same time, it's like why can a team like us or a team like Memphis or a team like whoever get one of those big stars because they don't want to play in these areas?
So, we're sitting here talking about mid-level teams not getting these big star free agents and things like that. We're Indiana fans. We all know we have to home grow our guys. We got to do it through the draft. We got to make it work with who we get.
And the bad thing is, the Pacers in the draft, they've been so terrible in the past.
Kevin Pritchard is not doing well.
No, he's not. I mean, Goga has his moments, but who's the last guy we had was Paul George, and that was not Pritchard, right? That was
Yeah, that was Pritchard.
It was?
Yeah,
okay.
That was Pritchard.
The last big star we had was Paul George, and he got out of here as fucking quick as he could.
Sure.
So
and it's unfortunate because if you go full organizational speaking, Indiana has one of the most stable, wonderful organizations in the NBA,
and nobody knows it.
And nobody knows it because we can't keep stars.
Yep.
A lot of that is because we're not willing to spend money.
I mean, look, so we're in 9th right now in the Eastern Conference. Think about who we have. We've got Domas. Miles is hurt, so he's out. We've got Domas. And Brogdon's been basically hurt the past few weeks. We've got a bunch of I'm not going to say scrubs. We've got a bunch of maybe 3rd, 4th tier players that are getting this done for us. T.J. McConnell, Doug McDermott, OJ, what's his name? O'Shea Brissett. Oh, sorry, O'Shea Brissett. I didn't mean OJ. O'Shea Brissett. These guys are getting it done. I mean, we're not winning every game, but these guys are actually they're putting up stats and they're actually putting up a fight every game.
Because of the passion for the game. Yeah. You can tell these guys are fighting for their livelihood. Mm-hmm. The Jakar Sampsons, the O.J. Brissetts, or the O'Shea Brissetts.
Why do I keep saying O.J.?
I keep saying it too. The Keelan Martins, the Butler prodigy, the Keelan Martin went for 25 the other night.
O'Shea Brissett put up 30, 31 last night. I mean, my God.
I mean, these are guys that are fighting for their livelihood.
Yeah.
They don't have a choice. You either perform or you're in the D League or worse.
Yeah,
you're overseas.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of what I've always loved about. Not always loved because we had back in the day. I mean, we had the starting 5 of Reggie, Mark Jackson, Rick Smits, Dill Davis, Antonio Davis. They were not going anywhere, but they also played their fucking hearts out. I mean,
but Donnie Walsh. Dude, give the man credit.
Dude.
Like him, hate him, doesn't matter.
I love him.
That dude was a mastermind. He could put together a hell of a basketball team.
Well, that's like with the Colts when they had Polian. Polian was such a fucking genius.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Every single position, he knew how to maximize talent. He knew where to maximize that talent and how to set things in stone for those coaches and those coordinators.
I saw an interview with Polian, actually. Sorry, we're getting off basketball. We're going to football. I don't mean to. But I saw an interview with Polian, and he said, I knew they were going to hate me when I picked Manning over Leaf, but I did it for the betterment of the team. And look what happened. Leaf was a scrub, a total scrub, and I will say that every day of my life, who lasted for, a year or two. And Manning, obviously we all know.
Couldn't stand in jail.
You're right. He had the problem. He actually robbed. He was in jail for robbery.
Correct.
So we ended up with Manning over Leaf, and I remember I was only 15 or 16 at the time when he got drafted, and I was like, man, I kind of want Leaf. I like him. I didn't know much about Manning, but I was like, Leaf seems like a cool guy. What the fuck was I thinking? And I'm so glad that Polian did what he did. He's a smart guy. He knew what the hell he was doing, and we got the guy who has a fucking statue outside of the stadium now. I mean, how can you beat that?
You can't get mad at him. The guy knows he can find a diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
There was a lot of guys that weren't high on a Dwight Freeney or a Robert Mathis.
Oh, speaking of Robert Mathis,
even a Bob Sanders.
Speaking of Robert Mathis, he was supposed to be inducted into the Colts Ring of Honor last year, but due to COVID, they delayed it. So he's actually going to be inducted into the Ring of Honor this November. So congrats to Robert Mathis, one of my favorite Colts players of all time. Such a beast. He leads the Colts in all-time sacks. I mean, there's no way you can. I mean, Freeney was great. I love the combination of those two, but Mathis just had that extra level that you cannot.
You couldn't touch him when he wanted to get to the quarterback.
No.
If it was his time to go to the quarterback, you weren't going to stop him.
Freeney created the spin move, but Robert Mathis really was just that fucking beast that, I mean, you could not stop.
Freeney created the spin move. Robert Mathis perfected the spin move.
I'd say that. I mean, and I speaking of, I hate going off on another tangent because I wasn't expecting to talk about the Colts. But Robert Mathis went to
Texas A&M.
No, I'm talking about after the Colts. He went to Arizona. Did he go to Arizona?
Dwight Freeney went to Arizona.
That's what I was talking about. Sorry, yeah. I meant Freeney. Freeney went to Arizona after the Colts. I wanted him to retire as a Colt so badly. And what I love about Mathis is he stayed his whole career here. I was actually at the game when he retired, and it was honestly an emotional moment because he'd been with us for so long and did so many great things for the organization that I'm so happy that he's going to be in the Ring of Honor. I can't tell you how excited I am for him.
You know, you talk about emotional moments. When it comes to us sports fans, we're not just invested in it financially. We're not
invested financially at all.
Yeah, but we go to the games.
Yeah.
We pay for games.
Yeah.
We pay for memorabilia. We pay for merchandise. So we're invested financially. But one of the biggest things we're always invested in is emotionally. I mean, these guys become part of our daily life.
They feel
in conversation.
It feels like they're your family. As weird as it sounds, you talk about these guys like they're your family. If they get traded, or if they get let go, or if they retire or whatever, it actually hurts you emotionally. And it's a weird thing to say, but you feel a hole in your heart.
Yeah, because you invest so much in these people.
Exactly.
You know,
and that's why I mean, obviously everyone. This isn't a shocking thing to anyone, but in the past few years, guys are switching teams like that's why I don't buy jerseys hardly at all anymore, because guys switch teams every year or every other year, and I back in the day I had my Reggie jersey, my Reggie Flojo jersey, which is amazing, by the way, which they need to just bring that back. And I love the City Edition this year, but they just need to bring back the Flojo. But I had my Reggie jersey for like 8 years, and I could wear it every game. But now they've even got, on the I think it's the NBA.com app where you can buy jerseys. They have a refund thing where if your player is not in the organization in 90 days, you get your money back on the jersey that you bought. I mean, that's just
terrible.
That's just that speaks to how money hungry players are nowadays, and it bothers me so much that I mean I can't blame them for chasing the money, but also, don't you want to be with a fan base that just loves you? I mean, that has everything invested in you. It sounds corny as hell. I understand that. But don't you feel, when you feel that love, when they announce you, like in the starting lineup, when they announce you and the whole stadium cheers for you because they love you so much, like Depot when he was here, and he was
adored.
He was our guy because he went. I know he's from Maryland.
He's from Baltimore, Maryland.
He's from Maryland,
but he's a Hoosier.
But he went to IU, and then he went to Magic, then OKC, then back here, and we were just so happy that he was back here, and he was the face of the franchise, and then he all of a sudden says, "Fuck you, Indy, I'm out," and it literally, I was so fucking pissed. And it's all about money. I get that. I shouldn't have been so mad, but I was. I mean, you could probably say that about so many guys in the NBA or NFL or wherever at this point, because it's all about chasing the money. And I'm not in their shoes, so I can't say that I wouldn't do that. But as a fan, I disagree with that.
Media, and there's a lot of things with the media that changes these guys. They have all this following, this cult following around them that's chirping in their ear and telling them that they're better than maybe what they really are. Victor Oladipo is a phenomenal player. He was coming off a horrific injury, though. He wasn't worth, the $20 million a year that he wanted. He just wasn't.
No.
You gotta look at what you're worth and your value.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your value says one thing, but your worth is another.
Right.
If you're not going to carry a team on your shoulders, you're not worth $25 or $30 million a year.
The thing is, he did. Well, I won't say he carried, but a few years ago when we were playing, the Heat in the playoffs, he was that dude that you were looking for. Besides Boyan's my guy. I was so sad to see him leave too, but
he kind of broke my heart a little bit.
Vic was that guy you were looking for.
But you had to look
to have that ball in the final moments.
Who else were you going to put the ball in the hands of on that team a couple years ago?
Besides Boyan, nobody.
Boyan or Vic. That's it. There was nobody else there that you could trust to take that shot.
Yeah, exactly.
But that doesn't earn you an extra $7 or $8 million a year just because you've become the de facto player to shoot the last shot.
And what really bothers me is he went to Houston, and he was only in Houston. How long was he in Houston? Not even that long.
10 games, maybe?
And then he goes to the Heat, which, hey, I can't blame him for going to Miami because, so we all thought, our whole thing was we all thought, okay, Vic's going to Miami. That was last year, even during the playoffs. We thought, okay, Vic's going to Miami after this year. But he goes to Houston. We're like, what the fuck? So Harden's gone. Everyone's gone from Houston. Why would you go there? And then he ends up in Miami, which I totally understand because Miami beat the shit out of us in the playoffs last year. They swept us. I mean, that's how bad it was. And they didn't even have any real superstars. They had Bam Adebayo. They had
Jimmy Butler's a certified stud.
He's
period, point blank in my eyes.
Not there anymore, but I mean,
hands down, probably a top 3 favorite.
But back
player
then, I mean,
dude just gets dirty.
Tyler Hero is a
budding superstar,
is a fucking stud. But so I didn't understand why he went to the Rockets after. I mean, I guess I get it why after Harden's gone because they need to shoot. Why they need a shooting guard, but we all thought it was Miami, and then he goes to Houston for a little while, and then he goes to Miami. Cool, whatever, man. But as a fan, you're thinking why. You're like, why are you leaving us? We've invested so much in you. You're on all of our billboards. You're doing, you're our guy. You're doing these commercials for us. I get chasing the money, man, but sometimes you got to be like Reggie and just stay. Hey, there were plenty of years where the Pacers were not contenders. Reggie fucking stuck it out.
You know why Reggie stuck it out? Because Reggie is an all-time great NBA player. He did it just like Jordan wanted to do it. You stay with the team, you help the team, and you help the organization build around you. You be that number one stud. Let them guys come and help you. And don't just be a superstar that travels and chases rings.
And I feel like that's
be the guy that wants the ring to come to you.
That's the thing. I feel like no one. I won't say no one, but I feel like most people outside of Indianapolis don't know about Dale Davis, don't know about Antonio Davis, may know about Rick Smits, may know about. I mean, Mark Jackson was with the Knicks and everything, so I mean, they might know about them. But when people think of the Pacers from the '90s, they think of Reggie. But he had so many parts around him that made him better. I mean...
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you had the Davis boys down there just pounding it out. I mean, I think only maybe Knicks fans know about the Davis boys because it was a fucking battle with Charles Oakley and Ewing.
Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason are still icing.
Mason, man.
Boys, baby.
Man,
those boys were the mean boys until the Pacers came to town.
Dude, those were some tough games. Those were hard fought, beat the shit out of you games.
That was man basketball back
That
then.
that was. And that's one of the things that everyone always talks about. Who would beat who in a one-on-one? Or if okay, sorry, I'm going to backtrack. If LeBron was in the league, say in '95, back when we were us and the Knicks. Sorry, I say us, like I was part of the team. Back when the Pacers and Knicks were just like in like a boxing match. Would LeBron have survived? Because I feel like he would have adapted to it. Like that was like this is the game now, which he knows is the game now, and he's smart enough to know that this is the game now. That you can flop and you can do all this stuff. Do you think he would have survived back then, or do you think not? Because he's a muscular guy, like he's a strong dude.
Yeah. I'm hard pressed to say yes, and I'm hard pressed to say no. He's a smart player. He understands the game as to what it is now. But when you look back at those 94, 95, 96 Bulls, and even the Knicks, the Pacers, that was a group of men.
They were. I mean,
wasn't going to the basket like LeBron does now, where they just get out of your way.
No.
You were getting shoulder checked. You were getting an elbow in
You were getting
chest.
short checked. You were getting thrown on your fucking ass.
And guess what? You thought about it next time you went to the basket.
Yeah,
exactly. You had to be a real man to go to the basket back in the mid '90s, the early '80s.
Yeah,
because you weren't going easy.
I remember seeing the. I'm gonna talk about another 30 for 30. The winning time, Reggie Miller. They talked about the Pacers saying, the coaches saying, don't let anyone go through the middle. If they go through the middle, knock them on their ass. Sure. And that's what they did back then. Now I watch the Pacers. I see. I'm sorry, Domas. I love you, but I see Domas putting his hands up, like just putting his hands up, not even trying to contest a shot, putting his hands up. And that's it.
It's the Olay defense.
And the guy just runs right through. He doesn't give a shit. It's fucking Dame Lillard. It's whoever. They're going to run right by you. They don't give a fuck. You need to lay them on their fucking ass. You may get... Nowadays, you probably get a technical for it. But
they're not going to go down the middle the same again.
Exactly. Because they're scared. They don't want to get injured.
Take it for the team.
Exactly. That's what they used to do. Starks got the shit beat out of him because of us. And he was
I'll never, ever in my life be a Knicks fan.
He was a hard-nosed guy.
I absolutely will respect John Starks and
you know how
Patrick Ewing.
You know how he started out, right?
Those dudes just had the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Well, the thing is, so Starks was like a grocery bagger or something, like when he...
he's full of tools.
Before he came to the NBA, he literally bagged groceries for a living. And he scrapped his way to the NBA, and he became one of the, I don't know if it's one of the stars, but one of the guys in the early to mid 90s that you didn't fuck with, because he scrapped, and he was a good player. But I loved one of my favorite things was when, everyone knows this, but when he headbutted Reggie. And Reggie just fucking... I think that was the first flop ever in NBA history. He, gave Reggie a little nudge on the head. Reggie flies backwards like he just fucking ran over him with a dump truck. And it was so great because Starks got ejected from the game and we got free throws from it. Reggie knew what he was doing. He was very smart about it.
Pacers fans. I'm obviously a Pacers fan from Indiana, born and raised, Central Indiana. Reggie Miller created the flop.
He totally did.
There's no question about it.
Actually, the game where he got the 8.9, everyone knows about that.
Oh yeah.
But so I think when the Knicks were, I think it was God. I don't want to misspeak. I think it was Mason. I don't want to be wrong. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. I think it was Mason throwing the ball into Greg Anthony. Reggie totally shoves him. He pushes him to the floor, and Reg just puts his hands up like I didn't do anything.
Hey, and then a foul if the whistle don't blow.
And then steals the ball, runs out to the 3-point line, shoots the ball, and nails it. Obviously, everyone knows the story. But it wasn't, I don't know if it was necessarily called a flop, but it was like the anti-flop. Like, he acted like he didn't commit the foul. And nobody called it, but I mean, I've seen the replay a million times. And everyone says that, I think it was Greg Anthony. Everyone says he slipped. I think Reggie pushed him a little bit.
Oh, no. Greg Anthony slipped.
He slipped.
If the whistle don't blow, Greg Anthony slipped.
I'm not gonna debate it. I mean, we won the game off of Reggie. And the thing is, I mean, even if he didn't slip, I mean, Reggie, he could have taken a 2-point shot, goes out to the 3-point line, and nails it. I mean, who would think of doing that? I mean, who would have the presence of mind to actually go to the 3-point line and shoot it because you know you need those points? And then afterwards, we foul for some reason. I don't know why, because I think the game was tied, and we fouled John Starks. Why the hell would you foul when the game is tied? But that look in John Starks' eyes was, oh shit, I do not want to be taking these free throw shots. So Starks misses horribly both of those free throw shots, and then, you know, obviously everyone knows the end of the story. We end up winning the game. But man, those days, I wish players. The point, I'm going to come back to it. The point is, I wish players were more like that now. Like, they would do anything to win. And these days, it's all about the money. It's all about, you know, I need to save my body for whatever.
Endorsements. It's never going to be about the game anymore.
No.
It's unfortunate because social media and not necessarily ESPN, but the coverage that ESPN gives, they don't give you those coverages because you played hard and had an incredible game.
No.
You get those because you flopped, and they're going to talk about your flop.
You know, a guy like Dale Davis would not get airtime on ESPN at this, you know, in these days.
Pretty incredible. You bring up Dale Davis. I seen the man. It's been a few months ago. It was just before March Madness.
Oh, you told me about that.
At a local gas station.
Yeah.
I'm in there getting gas, getting a couple of drinks for my little girls on my way home from work. And in walks this giant of a human being.
He's still a massive man.
Pacers fans, we need to suit the man back up. He still looks like he can play. He truly looks like he can play. He is an animal still.
He's only 55 years old now. He'll be fine.
Hey, sign him to a 10-day. Let's see what happens. But, you know, you see him on the court, and you watch him for years, and you're going, man, that dude is aggressive. He's mean. He's violent. Meet him in person.
You know what? That's what
Incredible.
That's what frustrated me about IU last year, because his son played for IU, Trace Jackson Davis. He's a great player, but he's not what his dad was. And it was so frustrating. I mean, all of you IU fans can totally attest to this.
He doesn't have the mean streak like his dad.
He doesn't, man. But you kind of... I won't say you need that in the NBA, but it honestly helps.
As a big, you need that.
It helps.
You need that as a big.
And Trace Jackson Davis, he's a great player, but he doesn't have that I don't know if I'd call it an X factor, but whatever it is that Dale Davis had, he needs that, because IU has been soft for so long. I know we're jumping from NFL to NBA to NCAA. IU has been soft for so long that I've been an IU fan since I was a child. My parents screamed so loud in the '87 national championship game that I cried. That's how long I've been a fan. So I mean I've been there through the thick and thin. Bob Knight is my fucking hero. But and I hope with, you know, the new hiring of the new coach, of Mike Woodson, I hope that they'll find that it's not necessarily I don't know what it is. It's like it's an Indiana thing. Like it's a hard-nosed
blue collar, baby.
Hard-nosed, yeah, right, yeah, exactly. A hard-nosed blue collar type of play that Archie didn't have. That, Mike Davis, we went to the championship in 2002, but I mean, who thinks about that?
But the reason
Tom Crean was actually okay. I think Tom Crean he seems like a better coach because we had Oladipo and Zeller. But we just need having an IU alum as the coach. I think I'm hoping. I'm not saying it will, but I'm hoping it does numbers for how the players perform on the court. Because
look at the transfer recruits they've got coming in.
Yeah, well,
they've got the 7-footer coming in from South Florida.
Well, the thing was, before Woodson came along, damn near every player that IU had was leaving.
Yeah, now
they were all in the transfer portal.
Now
they were all there.
Bring Mike Woodson in. He's an alumni of IU.
He was a great NBA. I mean,
he was an incredible NBA coach.
He's got the pedigree. I just feel like
he's gonna bring IU back to prominence.
I'm not. I've been an IU fan for so long that I can't believe in anything right now. But I'm hoping at this point that Woodson brings them back to that point they were at in like the late 80s, early 90s, where it was. They were a team that you stopped everything to watch them. Like you would say, "Hey, IU's playing today at 1:00 or whatever," and you would actually stop everything you were doing to watch them.
Those Todd Lindemann,
Damon Bailey,
Henderson, the Damon Bailey.
Yeah, man,
that was real.
That's what I want to watch, man. And we've been missing out on it for so long. Like we had a little spark back when Oladipo and Zeller were there. But, I mean, other than that, what have we had since 1994? It's been guys that are highly recruited and are soft as fuck in the NBA.
Mean like James Blackman, who's soft? He was, a number 3 recruit
I can go all day. I can go all day.
We're sitting here talking about all these guys that are soft, coming to the NBA. Out of high school, college. Let's kind of change topic a little bit here. Let's go into it being the 25th, 26th year of the OJ Simpson trial.
Oh yeah.
All right. Let's bring that up.
All right.
Clearly wasn't soft on the field.
No.
Guy was without question was one of the all-time greats on the field.
Not soft on the field, not soft in his ex-wife's yard either.
Yeah, zero respect for the guy. I don't care. Glove don't have to fit. The man did it.
Well, you know what? So the whole glove thing. So they apparently they put the glove. They froze the glove. So they could anyway. So they froze the glove, and I think freezing a glove makes it smaller. So and then he tries. So first off, they freeze it, and then he tries putting it on over a latex glove in the courtroom, and they're like, "Well, it doesn't fit, obviously." But why the hell would it fit after being frozen? After being put on over a latex glove that he had on, why in the hell would it fit? If I wore a glove and someone had frozen it, someone had me wear a latex glove, and I try to put the glove on over it, it would not fit.
No, it's not going to fit. All right, homework assignment for all our viewers and our listeners. Go home, guy, girl, don't care. If you got a pair of leather pants, freeze them some bitches. Put them on. See if they still fit.
They're not going to come.
Wait. You got to put a trash bag on first. Yeah. Then see if they fit.
Yes. Actually, I don't even care about the trash bag. You could try to put them on after they're frozen, and I guarantee they're not going to come up over your ass.
Leather shrinks.
I guarantee it. And that's what I don't understand. So, and the funny thing is, back when it happened, it was a huge racial divide. Like, basically, I'm not going to put everyone into one category, but the majority of white people said he was guilty. Majority of black people said he was not guilty. Now, in the past year or so, 50% of African Americans have said he is guilty.
Yeah. Because guess what? They're finally seeing his true colors. He robbed a Las Vegas hotel for his own memorabilia.
Yeah, I mean that was literally the nail in the coffin.
Dude, sign shit and sell it. You're gonna make the same amount of money.
I loved that judge, by the way, that did that was in the Las Vegas trial. She was like, I don't care who you are. I don't care that you've done this or that. You cannot try to take shit that does not belong to you and try to basically, literally, not basically, rob somebody for their, whatever. Well, I think was it his Heisman Trophy and something else?
His Heisman Trophy and I think one of his helmets. But look, think about that. His only rebuttal to the whole plea agreement was, but it's my signature on it.
That makes
Nobody gives a damn if your signature's on it, OJ.
That makes no sense.
It's not your shit.
And I think the People vs. OJ trial on Netflix really brought everything to light, because you saw just how manipulative the defense was, and they got all of these high-profile lawyers. They got Shapiro. They got
the Kardashian.
They got the Kardashian. Well, he wasn't like that. He became famous because of that.
Correct, but he in the central Los Angeles area, he had made a name for himself with a few more of big high profile trials. If you look back on his career,
you know what the funny thing is? Right before he died in 2003, he had an interview with, I think it was Barbara Walters, and she said, "Is OJ innocent?" And he said, "Barbara, I'm not going to talk about that." And that spoke to me tremendously.
Sure, because he did his job.
His
job was to defend the defensible.
He did his job, and he felt horrible about it because he was like Robert Kardashian. Say what you want about the Kardashians now, Robert Kardashian was a stand-up guy, and he felt terrible about what happened. Have you ever seen the picture? I don't know if you've seen that. The picture of as soon as they read the not guilty verdict, Kardashian looks at OJ, or he looks at the camera or something, and he's just like, "Oh fuck, what did I just do?"
Yeah, he had a killer acquitted.
Yeah, and he that's the thing that Shapiro didn't think about. This thing that Carson didn't think about. None of them had a conscience.
It was all about the money at that point. It was the money and the fame.
Well, obviously, Kardashian had a conscience. I mean, he was like, "Oh shit! I just helped let a guilty guy of murder go free."
Yeah, the man killed 2 people.
Yep.
I don't give a damn what your skin color is.
Yeah, exactly.
I judge you based on the kind of person you are.
If you were white, if you were Mexican, if you were whatever, I would say the same damn thing about you.
Your ass would still be guilty.
Right, exactly. And the thing is, when I was a kid, like I remember, OJ was one of my idols when I was a kid. I wasn't old enough to know, to watch him, but I knew his stats when I was a kid because I loved football from a very, very young age. And I remember seeing, obviously everyone saw it in June of '94, him going in that white Bronco down the fucking freeway, and everyone was like, "What the hell is going on?" And I thought, "There's no way." And they started talking about this, what happened, and I'm like, "There's no way he killed his wife. That's O.J. Simpson."
He was an American hero.
He was, and he was on all those movies, Airplane. And then he was on all those commercials,
Naked Gun movies,
the Hertz movies, and everything. The Hertz commercials. He was literally, yes, you're right. He was an American hero almost. Like nobody wanted to think he was guilty. I don't think, unless you just didn't know about football, you didn't know about movies, whatever. But I don't think anyone wanted him to be guilty. I mean, but I guess I could see some people saying, well, very close-minded people saying, well, it's a black guy with a white wife, blah, 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 whatever. I don't think that was the case at all. I think if it was a white guy with a white wife, white guy with a black wife, black guy with a black, whatever, it doesn't matter. But he had such a temper that nobody knew about until all the 911 tapes came out. and everything came out about that everyone realized, oh my God, this guy he's got a huge temper, and it made sense after you saw those, but a lot of that stuff I guess the judge didn't let the jury see any of that, or I don't know if they saw any of it, but a lot of that they didn't get to see.
Right, but let's look at it. Let's look at it in a perspective as O.J. Simpson. He was an incredible football player. Took a lot of hits. There was a lot of things that happened to that man, traumatic wise.
CTE is a huge thing, man.
Exactly. That's where I was going. What about CTE? Does the man have CTE, and that caused his anger outbursts?
He might. I mean, we don't know because
it was not common back then. And CTE was not something that people even thought of back then.
Well, what I wonder is, why don't they test for it now with him and see if that could be one of the issues that, obviously I think most people, I won't say everybody, but I think most people are in agreement that he probably did kill her at this point. But why don't they look at it now and say, do you have any kind of trauma from playing so many years and getting your head bashed in? And I feel like, I won't say everyone's going to forgive him for it, but there could be...
It'll shed a little light on things. Maybe
right.
More so than anything.
Well, I mean, you know about CTE now. Like, there's so many players now that have CTE, and
sure,
you didn't hear about it back then.
No.
And it's I guarantee it was an issue for him, because back then, obviously, there was nowhere near as much padding on the helmets, like things like that. I mean, I guarantee he suffers from CTE. I follow him on Twitter, and he seems like a great guy. But you can tell that there's something about him that is not quite right.
No, he's definitely a little off. I'll agree with that. He's a little off, but you think about it, and the advancements in technology over the last 20 years, not 25 years, but just in the last 10 years.
Literally.
Look at the technology. We've got someone is reputable. In my opinion, is probably one of the greatest linebackers of all time in Junior Seau.
Yeah.
CTE. Suicide.
Killed himself, yeah.
He had it, and he had it bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why wouldn't somebody like OJ, who carried the ball, God, I couldn't imagine how many times that man's carried the ball in his lifetime.
Yeah, and just getting beat the fuck in the head so many times. And that's one of the things I just never understood. Like, what I don't think he was necessarily a bad guy. He seems like he would actually be a decent guy. But I mean, when that CTE kicks in, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know. I don't know I can't say if the murders were necessarily his fault or not. It's a really gray area for me, honestly, because you see him and you're like, man, I don't know if he could do it, but I mean, brain injuries are a son of a bitch, man. I don't know if I'm assuming it was totally not, mostly CTE related, because even Nicole said when they were together, there were a few 911 calls that she had to make.
Yeah.
About him, like, trying to kick in the door and stuff like that and everything else.
He just went batshit crazy.
Yeah,
I've had my fair share of concussions and things like that.
Yeah. Going
through school, playing sports.
Yeah.
I don't think that I've ever had or will ever have CTE. But there again, I didn't play to the level these guys are playing.
No, really. I mean, they're playing against 400-pound guys that are going to beat the fuck out of him, and it's really unfortunate that he had to go through that. But at the same time, it's like, do we really want to brush that off and say, well, it was just CTE? Because I don't think that the Brown family or the Goldman family will take that as an excuse, because he had history of with Nicole having some domestic violence issues and other things like that, where he beat her car with a golf club and shit. But like, I mean, you look at all the evidence now, and I know most of it wasn't around back in 94, 95, but you look at it now and you're like, how could he not be guilty? And it's really a tough thing to look at, because back then it was like no one knew anything about CTE. No one knew really what Nicole Brown had been through. Everyone just sees their hero.
Sure.
And they're like, why would he have done this? He's not like that at all.
But it's not just CTE that causes that. People have mental health illnesses.
And that's
maybe he was bipolar.
And that's something no one ever brought up either. He never had like a psychiatric evaluation. And it was all based on, I think the main reason he got off is because Furman said the N-word in an interview one time, and then they claimed I don't know if he planted the glove or not. They say he possibly planted the glove, but I think that was a huge thing in the actual trial, because he was the lead detective on the case, and he should have been much more professional than that. And I know that when he said the N-word, it was during an interview where he was reenacting something. I really don't know, but I think they should have taken a long look into look at his past. Yeah,
take a look at his past.
Yeah,
let's see what you find.
That's what I was thinking. Like, they saw that he had said the N-word one time in an interview, but I think if you're being recorded, why would you even say that? I think I think the thing was they were recording something and he was replaying something for them, and somebody had said the N-word, and obviously he said it in the replay, and it came out like that. I can't speculate. I can't really say whether he was really racist or not. But, I mean, he became like a correspondent for some news channel. I don't remember which one it was.
But even then, I mean, that N-word, I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're Asian, Puerto Rican, Mexican. Doesn't matter. That is the most derogatory word in the history of language.
Yeah.
Don't say that shit around me. I don't care if you're black and you say it. Don't say it around me.
You know what?
I have zero tolerance for that particular word. There's a reason for it, and I'll keep it to myself right now. But you don't use that word, in my opinion. I don't care what color your skin is.
How do you tell someone of another? How do you tell like an African American? Don't say. I mean, they say it with the A, not the ER, and it's like how can you tell them that offends me because they'll say that's our word.
Well, it can be your word or not, but I can still 100% not tolerate that word, and I can be polite about it and ask those particular people, please don't use that word around me.
Yeah, I get that.
I just because it brings a full on intolerance that as our country right now, we shouldn't stand for.
We don't need it. We don't.
It helps to continue to create a racial divide.
Yeah.
That unfortunately our government, in my opinion, is creating right now.
God, I don't want to talk about our government right now.
Well, let's talk about our government.
No, God, I don't want to talk about it because I've got plenty of friends that are on the left. I got plenty of friends that are on the right. I don't want to alienate any of you. I don't like. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong. Seriously, put it in the comments below. I mean, I just feel like Biden is not. He's not there. Like he's so. I feel like he's senile. Please tell me if I'm wrong.
Biden might have CTE. I don't know where it came from. But the guy's off the hook.
I don't want to alienate any of my friends because I feel like I agree maybe with some of his policies, maybe I don't know, but I mean, I listen to him, and it seems like he doesn't even know where he's at. Like, I don't want to turn this into a political podcast. I really don't. But we're there now, so why don't we can talk about it for a few minutes, I guess.
Well, we don't have to make it 100% political. Let's just, for fair game and for the sake of fun, drop comments below. Where do you stand with Biden? Is he somebody that's going to help our country?
So there's
Is he somebody that's gonna hurt our country?
And what do you think about the whole Israel issue that's going on right now?
That's devastating. To me, that's devastating.
It really is.
I don't care.
To me, either way, I think if you're on the left or right, you have
you
to
got to have some kind of sympathy for that. You truly do.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of innocent people over there dying right now.
Yep.
Because of their political belief, because of who they are, because of their ethnicity.
Well, it's not political. It's a religious belief.
Sure, and how terrible is that?
Yeah, and I mean, everyone kind of gave Trump shit. I'm not endorsing Trump. Trust me, I'm not endorsing him. Everyone gave Trump shit for trying to kind of smooth over everything with different leaders like Putin, like Kim Jong-un, but we didn't hear anything about other countries trying to attack us when Trump was president. And
there was nobody attacking other countries either.
Right.
You look at Trump. Not a big Trump fan at all.
He's a fucking asshole on Twitter. That's all I can say about him. But he tried, and people are like, "Why are you trying to be friends with Putin? Why are you trying to be friends with Kim Jong-un?" Well, he's like, "Well, if we're friends with them, they're not going to fucking bomb us.
They're not going to attack, and they're not going to attack our allies as well." But he's not just protecting the U.S. He's protecting our allies.
And I didn't honestly like I said, I'm not a big Trump fan. I'm not a big Biden fan. Whatever. But we weren't on the verge of nuclear war like we are right now. I'm not trying to frighten anybody, but
we are. Call it what it is, brother. We are.
Yeah, but
it's a button to be pushed.
But the thing is, like, why was it so bad for him to try to smooth things over with Putin or Kim Jong-un, who hates the fucking U.S.? But I mean, why was it a bad thing for him to say, "Hey, you know what? Maybe we can smooth things over"? Why did everyone give him shit for that? Why?
Because you have the left wing, the right wing. Doesn't matter. There's a lot of people in this country that stand steadfast on one side or the other. They're not. But that's the problem with our country right now. They're not willing to accept. Hey, yeah, this guy, he's a Republican. But look at what he's doing. He's trying to smooth things over with these countries that are 100% war bound.
They're ready to drop. They're ready to drop nukes on us.
That's what Korea's about. That's what Russia's about. They're a haven for war. Yeah. They feed on that shit.
Yeah.
And yet this guy's over here putting his neck on the line, going to these countries, trying to make things right. Good, bad, or otherwise.
Sounds like you are a Trump fan, by the way.
You know what? You can call it what you want. He was an asshole on Twitter. He's, I don't agree with him.
He wasn't
He wasn't the most likable guy, and he never.
No, he wasn't. Obviously,
but I truly think his heart was in the right place. And you know what, Biden, you can be that too, but you have to know where the hell you are when you're on the stand.
You can
and get somebody to write your speeches. Because you're doing a terrible job, sir.
Yeah, I was looking at some of his, basically, you want to call them fuck ups over the past few years. He can't even complete a coherent sentence, which really, I'm not trying to make fun of him. I'm just saying that for a president, we need somebody that can speak clearly, that can speak, that has a tone that other countries can maybe look up to or be honestly afraid of, to be honest with you.
I don't think they have to be afraid of it. I think that they have to respect it.
That's what I kind of,
You got to have a demeanor in which people are going to respect you when you talk.
But he just sounds like they wheeled him out of a retirement home and had him talk or speak a few lines, and it's like, I'm like I said, I'm not on the left or right, but I don't respect him at all right now because he sounds literally like a 95-year-old man that they just wheeled out of their retirement home and said, "Hey, go speak to this crowd." And I'm not going to respect somebody like that. I mean, he he didn't even know what year Obama was elected. He said back. I watched a YouTube video earlier, and he said back in 2012. There was a black guy that picked me up at my house and took me to Washington. I'm like, how the hell do you not know what year Obama was elected? Because everyone else knows.
You're a Democratic Party president. How do you not know when the last Democratic president was elected?
Yeah, and I'm not.
That's simple math.
I'm not trying to divide anyone. I'm literally not. But I can't see. I've been trying to find out what has Biden done in the past few months that's been good for the country.
Raise gas prices.
Well, I'm really trying to be optimistic because I don't want to be an Obama hater. I'm sorry, I'm being like Biden. I'm not trying to be a Biden hater. I want like everyone else before Trump. I think everyone wanted our president to do a good job.
Sure.
And I think once Trump was elected, it's all the fuck Trump. He's not my president. Why don't you want your president to do a good job? This affects you. This affects you in a very real way. Why would you not want So I want Biden to do a good job. I wanted Trump to do a good job, but I'm trying to find things that Biden has done to make our country better, and I can't find them. Please comment if you have any arguments for that, because I'd love to see them. I really want to believe in our president and to
open our eyes, open our horizons.
Right.
Drop comments, like Mike said. Drop comments.
I really
let us know what he's done that's benefited us.
I absolutely want to believe in our president, because that's what being an American is about. You want to think that your president has everything under control, and to be honest with you, I don't see it right now. But maybe I'm missing out. Maybe I'm missing things. I don't know. But I don't want our country to go to shit like a lot of no Trumpers were.
Yeah, and but it's not even about like being in control.
No, it's.
I don't care if you're a Republican or you're a Democrat.
I just want good decisions.
There's one thing every single person in this country can agree on: we want the best for our U.S. citizens. Mm-hmm. And right now, we're not getting it. There was times where we weren't getting it with Trump.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it goes all the way around. It's a full circle. It's not just one or the other.
No,
it's unfortunate because there's such a huge political divide that people are not willing to see past all the bullshit and go, okay, this man did this that bettered our economy. This man did this that bettered our gas prices.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
this man did this that bettered our economy based on textiles coming from imports and exports.
And that's why I think Obama gets a bad rap, because there's so many Trump fans that said fuck Obama. But I think he did some good things for us.
Sure, he did. He did great things for us at times.
But I also think Trump did good things for us too. I don't know why we can't all agree that, hey, every president might have some fuck ups. Every president might do a few good things for us. But everyone I've seen is like, fuck Trump. He's a racist. He's a whatever. He's a xenophobe. He's this. He's that. It's like, really. So when I did not want to get into politics at all.
Well, let's slow down the politics a little bit. Let's slide into this. If you're listening and you're a fan, politics aside, let's just throw out a little, let's call it a survey. Throw some things out there in the comments that Trump did that you appreciated, whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican,
or that you hated, either one.
That he didn't do that, or he did that you didn't like. Do the same thing with Biden. And let's educate one another.
Absolutely, that's what this is all about. And we all know you don't have to talk about Trump being on Twitter being an asshole. We all know that. Give us some policies, or give us some vetoes, or give us whatever that Trump did or didn't do, or Biden did or didn't do, that you didn't agree with. And like I said, Twitter aside, we all know that. We all know he got booted off Twitter. And I mean, I don't think Trump is a racist either, because if you can find proof of Trump being a racist, please put it in the comments, because I want to see it. I never saw him personally saying anything racist. I did see, I mean, when Biden said that, he said that black kids are just as smart as, or sorry, he said poor kids are just as smart as white kids. I mean, hell, I know it's a little bit of him not knowing exactly what he meant to say, but when he says that, it kind of makes you think, so all the poor kids must be Mexican and black, because he says poor kids are not, they're just as smart as white kids. So, I mean, that's what Biden said. I don't, I'm not going to say anything else about it, but yeah, please leave a comment and say, hey, Biden did this or Trump did this or whatever. I mean, we're open to anything, and we will talk about it in the next podcast. We're always open to new discussions.
Yeah, this is only our third podcast.
Yeah,
and it's becoming kind of second nature to us. We enjoy interacting with one another and communicating and talking about not just sports. Let's talk about real life.
It's funny how we start off with sports and then just take a dive into politics, religion, anything else we can talk about. It's kind of funny how we do that.
But you know what? It also brings people together.
No, totally.
Because we sit here and we have this conversation, and nobody gets mad at one another. We have the conversation based upon facts, not belief. Tell us your facts. And show us your facts.
Yeah,
send us comments. Send us links.
We don't fight, and I'm not going to tell you who's more left leaning, who's more right leaning. We've had a few people on here, and you probably don't. You may know, but you probably don't totally know who's on the left, who's on the right, who's in the middle. So that's what we love about this. I like having friends that I can talk to and just have a civil debate with. And we haven't really debated anything. We kind of the funny thing is, some of us totally disagree, and we don't even realize that we're having a civil debate.
Yeah, it's okay to have a debate with someone that you may not agree with their entire point of view. There's nothing wrong with that.
And that's kind of what I was talking about last night with John. Is people on the left and right now, it's you try to talk to your friends, or I guess your ex-friends that are on the left or right, and you can't even talk to them anymore. Like it's all of a sudden, oh, you're a Trump fan, you're a Biden fan, I can't talk to you anymore. And it's really discouraging to a lot of people that you can't even have a civil discourse with anybody now. And it's just, I mean, I think a lot of it is, like I said last night, social media. A lot of it is COVID, because a lot of Trumpers believe that COVID is maybe not. I don't know if they say it's a hoax, but they say I don't need to wear a fucking mask. Fuck you. And then Biden fans are saying you need to wear a mask all the time, everywhere. But we had John on last night who said, and he's actually, I'm not trying to call him out, but he leans a little further left. He said, you know what, outdoors you don't need to wear a mask anymore. And I take that for face value, what he says, because he's a pretty smart guy.
Right, but it's not. You're exactly right. He's a very smart guy. It's not about being right or left. It's about facts, and John was based on facts in everything he said last night, which was highly impressive for me, to say the least.
Well, yeah, you actually decided to get.
And I've scheduled, boys and girls. I have scheduled. I'm going to get a COVID
Did you actually schedule a vaccine? Seriously,
I scheduled a COVID vaccine.
That's awesome, man. I'm props to you, man. But yeah, I hate talking politics. I really do. Even though we've talked about it for like half an hour, I don't I'm not big into it. I'd rather talk about sports, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, in the climate we live in today, it's obviously going to come up. But as far as me and my friends go, some of us are left, some of us are right, some of us are in the middle. We all get along, and that's all I want you guys to do. So, with that said, I'm going to wrap this up right now. Just be nice to each other. Try to have civil conversations with each other. I think it'll actually open all of your minds, whatever side you're on. I feel like if you can actually, open your mind, not be narrow-minded. If you can open your mind, I feel like that can do a lot of good in the world. And listen to what your friends have to say. And you may not agree with some of it, you may agree with some of it, but just keep an open mind. And I think that'll be in the end, that could be good for all of humanity. So we're gonna sign off right now. It's Mikey and
Fisherman Chad saying good night, everybody.
All right, talk to you later, guys.